story, son.
Yeah, all black, everything black. Yeah, I'm just saying, black skin, black woman, black children, black friends, black shoes, black socks, black shirt, black hat on, black pants, car black. I might as well paint the house black. How about that? Welcome to the all black family, brother. We on that. Get paid, make money, and send it to the continent. If you ain't paying dues, fuck your accomplishments. Make moves, do what it do, not for astonishment. When the cracker took over, that was the so-called apocalypse. And all we have now is bad revelations on top of it. Brainwashed with the germs from a dirty mob. They make us out to be the bad guys. Fuck it, ain't no stopping it. Riding around in a dirty Regal. Call us evil. I show you evil. Yeah. With this desert eagle, I for my people, feeling like a repo. I'm taking everything back just to make it equal. Run the bag like I'm all that. All my designers is all black. I hang with killers and all that. All of my homies is all that. Welcome to the all black family, brother. We on that. Buying up the whole damn block so we can own that. Run the bag like I'm all that. All my designers is all black. I hang with killers and all that. All of my homies is all that. Welcome to the all black family, brother. We on that. Buying up the whole damn block so we can own that. In Nigeria, I pray to Ogun and Shango. I pray to Nzambi when I think about the Congo. When you see the truth, anything is possible. In Gabon, Zambia, I'm his apostle. When I'm feeling fancy, I call out to a Nazi for the web of protection, so nothing gets past. Shout out to Marungu of the beautiful Kikuyu. Take it back west, I can't forget about voodoo. When I go south, catch me chillin' with the Zulu. And when I need food, I call upon it Kulu Kulu. And for you crackers, it's not a new business, I'm poop. I'm a Ku Klux Klan killer. Fuck the Mazungu. Run the bag like I'm all that. All my designers is all black. I hang with killers and all that. All of my homies is all that. Welcome to the all black family, brother. We on that. Buying up the whole damn block so we can own that. Run the bag like I'm all that. All my designers is all black. I hang with killers and all that. All of my homies is all that. Welcome to the all black family, brother. We on that. Buying up the whole damn block so we can own that.
All right. Hey, y'all let me know if y'all can hear me, please. Y'all please like and share the show too. Please like and share the show. I'm not gonna try to be on here too long, man, but in the spirit of Black History, man, I wanted to turn back to the YouTube streets to, do another presentation. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in here before I get started. Let me try it this way, Nita. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. This way. Okay, I can hear myself on that end. Yeah, appreciate it. Infinite Minds, Peace, Edward, Nigma 9x9. Y'all please like and share the show. I say this is gonna be a powerful presentation, man. We're gonna talk about the Battle of Adwa, but first, before we get into um the presentation. First, I want to say peace and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. I am Kofi Piesie, man. I know it's been a minute since I've been on here. I've been busy and really hadn't been really too much expired, but I've been inspired by Black History Month to get on here, man, to try to bring y'all some sound and accurate information. But before we get started, I just wanted to plug these cards again, man. We put out some cards last year for Black History Month, man. Quiz cards, man. If y'all, I don't have them up on the website like I explained on my Facebook page. I only have a limited copy. They did good last year, sold out 3 times, and then I ordered some more, so I still have a few more if anybody wants some. Packed and jammed with information on the cards. Um, I hadn't talked about the coloring book in a while, but I think this would be a great addition for Black History Month. This is our coloring book, man. It's an educational coloring book, man. The Spirit Master Institution Coloring Book 1. Meaning there are going to be many more to come pretty soon. I don't know when, but I have created a three character Chinky Albina, and Kojo Hinhen, who guides your children on what they are coloring, right? And then the comprehension book, right? We're trying to raise the comprehension level of our children and even the adults because we understand that a lot of our adults have comprehension levels as well. This is, I think, oh shoot, I got it upside down. It'll be a nice addition, you know what I'm saying, for Black History Month. And also our latest book, Spear Masters, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, volume 1, which came out about I think 2 weeks ago. Man, it's a great I think another great addition or great in value to Black History Month. And my chapter 4, is what I'll be talking about today, which I think will be a great addition for us learning something about Ethiopia, which expired not only Africa, but it expired the African American um, in the United States. So I think it's on the right that we talk about it, during Black History Month. Again, like I said, please like and share the show. Please like and share the show. Without further ado, we're gonna get into the presentation. Let me share my screen. Damn, my bad, y'all. Hold on, let me blow it up. I want to make it bigger than what it is. Uh, yeah, that's. Hold on, let me see something. Let me go back. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm trying to make sure it's a nice size so y'all can see. Hold on. All right. All right. That's a nice size. So, like I said, man, I know it's probably not going to be a lot of people, over here because the channel hadn't been active, and I know a few other people got some other stuff that's going on, and I understand. Uh, you know, I understand. But but we gonna get into it, man. But this is the Battle of Adwa. This is a Black History edition. So like I said, we're gonna get into it, man. Let's get into it. As I learned, we all learned. This is my phrase. This is something that I stand by, something that I have been living by and been proving myself, for a while. I always have to put a disclaimer out here before I get started. My disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. That information provided is for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research and have it qualified by someone. I mean, have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation, shut down, sell, or exchange the terms or use at my own discretion. All trademark, design rights, copyrights, registered names, mottos, logos, avatars, or sigmas, and mark used or cited by this website are the property of its respected owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available and or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, additions, deletions are encouraged. I always have to put a disclaimer out there before I get started. All right, before we get into this presentation, let's discuss the Berlin Conference to establish the so-called European power interest in the entire African continent. Now, what is the Berlin Conference and what was discussed and agreed upon the conference? So I wanted to start this presentation out with the Berlin Conference. A lot of us should be familiar with the Berlin Conference. If you're not, I'm just going to get you familiar. I'm not going to go too in depth in the Berlin Conference, but we're going to touch on some things in the Berlin Conference so you can get a grasp and an understanding why the Battle of Adwa took place in the beginning. But before we can get into the Battle of Adwa, we have to go back until these 14 so-called European powers encountering the interior of Africa and them feuding with each other, and them coming together in Berlin at this Berlin conference. So we're going to talk about what they actually talked about, why this conference was actually organized, and what happened after the conference was sojourned. This here is just a painting by someone of these so-called European powers in Berlin during this conference. Berlin Conference. I asked, what is the Berlin Conference and what was discussed? So we're going to talk about it. The Berlin Conference of 1884 and 1885 marked the climax of the European competition for African territory, a process commonly known as the scrambling of Africa. During the 1870s, the early 1880s, European nations such as Great Britain, France, and Germany began looking to Africa for natural resources for the growing industrial sectors as well as potential markets for the goods of these factors and factories produce. So they was going into, but these were some of the few. These are not all, but we know that back here we had the industry, the industrial industry that was popping off, right? So they needed these natural resources that comes from out of Africa, you know what I'm saying, to facilitate their factories. As a result of these, governments sought out to safeguard their commercial interests in Africa and beyond, sending scouts to the continent to secure treaties for the indigenous people of their supposed representation. That didn't work out. They was sending people in to secure treaties, right? So-called security treaties, right? And that is to get establish a common ground or a mutual ground between those communities and them, right? But that didn't work out. Similarly, Belgium King Leopold II, who inspired to increase his personal wealth by acquiring African territory, hired agents to lay claims to vast tracts of land in Central Africa. To protect common commercial interests, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, who was otherwise uninterested in Africa, felt compelled to stake claims in African land. Purpose of the Berlin Conference. In 1884, at the request of the Portugal, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck called together a major Western power of the world to negotiate questions and end confusion over the control of Africa. Bismarck appreciated the opportunity to expand German spheres to influence over Africa and desire to force German rivals to struggle with one another for territory. So we know that the so-called European powers, and we're getting established the rest of who they were. Right now, we're just talking about France, Britain, and Germany, but there were other people in the interior of Africa. So they was fighting amongst each other. There was chaos and confusion. So one thing that I can say that I can respect about these so-called white European powers, they was fighting amongst each other, right? There was confusion amongst each other, amongst them, right? But they came together as a collectively, and what I'm saying, they work things out, right? And I'm saying that because of I see a lot of things that's going on in our community. I see a lot of things that's going on in the online community where there's a lot of chaos and confusion, where we're fighting amongst each other, and which and we can't we not realizing that if we stick together and we come together for the greater good, then we can be able to liberate, what I'm saying, our people. We will be able to position ourselves and our community in a better position, in a better space, whether it's political, economically, what I'm saying, culturally, traditionally, or whatever, right? The inevitables of the scramble of territories led to the conflict among European powers, particularly between the British and the French in West Africa, Egypt and Portuguese and British in East Africa, and the French and King Leopold in Central Africa. The rivals between Great Britain and France led Bismarck to intervene in the late 1884, where he called a meeting of the European powers in Berlin. Otto von Bismarck was the prime minister of Persia, and the founder of the first chancellor of 1871 through 1890 of the German Empire. Otto von Bismarck pursued Pacific policies and foreign affairs and succeeded in preserving the peace in Europe. Countries represented in the Berlin Conference. 14 countries was represented by many ambassadors when the conference opened in Berlin in November the 5th, 1884. The country represented at the time included Australia, Hungary, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, Spain, Sweden, Norway, the United from 1814 to 1905, Turkey, and the United States. You hear it said, and the United States. So the United States also took part in this conference, the Berlin Conference, right, of 1884, right? Of these 14 nations, France, Germany, Great Britain, and Portugal was the major players in the conference, controlled most of the colonies in Africa. Yes, and that's correct. You will see most of France, Germany, Great Britain, and Portugal presence all over Africa, right? But you had other of these 14 nation presence that was in Africa that claimed stakes and certain countries in Africa as well. During the conference, the give and the take continued. By 1914, the so-called European powers had fully divided Africa amongst themselves into 50 countries and renamed most of them. And one of the presentations, and I'm not going to talk about it in here, but I talked to you about some of the names that we're pronouncing some of these countries. Those names were named something else by our indigenous African brothers and sisters. But when these 14 nations or these 14 so-called European powers carved up Africa for themselves, they renamed some of those countries, right? And they even divided up some of those spaces within those countries, right? Everyone at the conference got a piece of Africa, but Britain, France, Belgium, Portugal, Italy, Germany, and Spain were the major countries holding more of African real estate. So let's look at it. Great Britain desired Cape to Cairo collection of the colonies almost succeeded through the control of Egypt, Sudan, Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. So we know for a fact that Great Britain was in Egypt and the Sudan. But we know at a certain period of time, Great Britain began to share Sudan or certain parts of Sudan with the Arabs who came in later on. And I talk about that in our volume 5, Spearmasters volume 5. So I talk specifically about Sudan. And I talk about the Dinka people within the Sudan, right? And I talk about them fighting back and forth and between the powers of Great Britain and the Arabs who shared parts of the Sudan. Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, British East Africa, South Africa, and Zambia, Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, and Botswana. The British also controlled Nigeria and Ghana. So Great Britain had a lot of African real estate, right? France took much of Western Africa from the Mediterranean to Chad, French West Africa, Gambia, and the Republic of the Congo, right? So this and also this is why people also may see, especially those that they may not be well studied, why in certain countries in Africa you have English speaking Africans, you have French speaking Africans, you have Spanish freaking Africans, you have Portugal speaking Africans, you have Italian speaking Africans because of the presence of these so-called countries, right? Belgium and King Leopold II controlled Democratic Republic of the Congo, Belgium, Congo. Portugal took Mozambique in the east and Angola in the west. Germany took Namibia, Germany, Southwest Africa, and Tanzania, Germany, East Africa. Claims to the smallest territory, Guyana, Rio Muna. Italians holding were Somalia, Italian Somaliland, and the portion of Ethiopia. African is the natural resources such as rubber. But before we get into that, going back to what I'm talking about, the Berlin Conference, right? So I had to talk specifically, didn't go too in depth, but I got a whole presentation on the Berlin Conference going specifically in depth about the Berlin Conference. But I didn't want to go too in depth with the Berlin Conference, but I wanted to establish something before we get into the Battle of Adwa so we can understand what transpired between the Ethiopians and the Italians, or why the Italians was in Ethiopia in the first place, right? So we know that those people, those powers, those 14 nations, including the United States, we always talk about the conference, but we never equate the United States, who also had a stake in Africa and who also had representatives at the conference of Berlin, right? So they were feuding amongst each other. So they come together for their so-called common good to ally and to establish who would have what part of what real estates of Africa, right? Because we understood that the industrial revolutionary age was taking place and they needed these natural resources that Mother Africa facilitated, right? So they understood the value of Africa and its natural resources. They understood it. But us as a people, they have always perpetrated that Africa being this cesspool, right? Africa is not worthy of anything, right? We have been taught that, right? But they understand how great Africa was and how they copied certain things from Africa, how they took and raped and pillaged certain things out of Africa, right? So Africa is rich. We know that Africa sustains majority of the world, even though it is not the biggest continent, it is the second biggest continent in the world, but it sustains almost 90% of the natural resources, right? So Africa is rich in natural resources such as rubber, gold, diamonds, copper, bauxite, silver, petroleum, cocoa beans, iron, cobalt, uranium, and but that's more things. And I didn't specifically name a lot of other things, but I talk about it in a presentation where I talk about the natural resources. So I give you all the natural resources and how they utilize these natural resources to get rich. These so-called Europeans wanted to rape Africa prime real estate of its natural resources. Now let's look into the book African Natural Resources in a Global Context by Ralph Custer and Ken Mathenzi. This is a great book to have. Again, the book is called Africa Natural Resources, right? In the global context. And I see what they say about Africa natural resources. They states Africa is high due to the continent rich abundance and raw material. Africa is estimated to contain 90% of the entire world. Again, it says Africa is estimated to contain 90% of the entire world supply of platinum and cobalt, half of the world's gold supply, 2/3 of the world magnesium, and 35% of the world uranium. It is also accounted for nearly 75% of the world coltan, an important mineral used in electronic devices. So these devices, we know that we are now, pushing more into the electronic world, right? So we have devices for everything: the computer, the desktops, smart TVs, smartphones, iPads, right? Which contains a mineral that comes out of Africa, which is called coltan, right? Without this mineral, we wouldn't be able to utilize these important electronics that we have today, right? China has also expanded its military presence into Africa and rivaling the United States in investments and the military activities there. Ethiopia. Now let's talk about Ethiopia for a second. Ethiopia has abundant natural resources such as land, timber, minerals, and gas, gold, copper, posta, platinum, and natural gas lies beneath the surface of the earth in parts of the world. During the Berlin Conference, it was agreed that Italy would get Somalia and parts of Ethiopia. Let me stop right there. They all agreed to carve up Africa, right? And take its natural resources and gain its real estate, right? But these people, in the beginning, they said they was going to send people into Africa to broker treaties in order for them to come in, which didn't work out. So these people just took it amongst themselves to go into Africa and just claim states to to Africa's real estate. That's just like me pulling up. I see brother Satepara Miriam and my brother. Peace, brother Satepara. Peace, brother Robert Rand. Peace, Sadar. If I'm saying your name right. And peace to whoever else is watching. And it's not coming in the chat. But let's just say that I just pull up at Satepara house and I just stake claims to Satepara land in his house. Right? Satepara didn't give me permission to come on his property, to build on his property, to take anything off of his property, or stake claims on anything in his house, or go in his refrigerator, or whatever the case was. But these Europeans just had the audacity to come into Africa and say, hey, this is mine. This is mine. I'm going to take this, that, and the third, right? And you see that Ethiopia was full of natural resources that these that the Italians could utilize and become rich. We know gas. Gas, you know what I'm saying? Natural gas is in Africa. Platinum, which we know platinum has become popular, especially towards the Black community or the African American community or the hip hop community or the R&B community, even the reggaeton community, where it's platinum. We know we have always been on gold. You know what I'm saying? Gold has always been our thing. You know what I'm saying? Gas, copper, minerals, timber. We need timber to build with when we need land to build on, right? So they was full of these natural resources that the Italians could benefit off, right? Peace to brother Chavez and brother Sutek as well. I see them pop in the building again. Y'all please like and share the show, right? So let's go on. During the Berlin Conference, it was agreed that they would get Somalia and parts of Ethiopia. They hadn't talked to anybody from Somalia. They hadn't talked to anybody from Ethiopia. And the conference was to carve up Africa and rape it of the natural resources. So you see, Ethiopia natural resources would make Italy a wealthy country, right? Before I get into the Battle of Adwa, let's establish who is Sahel Memra, aka Menelik II, or the Emperor Menelik II, was Ethiopian's greatest leader, ruling and king and emperor of Ethiopia from 1889 to 1913. He was born Sahel Memram of August the 7th, 1844, in Ankober, Shura, Ethiopia. His mother, Waziro, if I said her name right, forgive me, and I'm not going, she has a long name, was a palace servant. And his father was Prince Haile Meleko, son of King Shahel Selassie. During an 1855 invasion by the Emperor Terwajro II, Melekot was killed and Memrar was taken prisoner and held captive for 10 years in the empire's mountain stronghold, Amba Magdala. Hold on. Oh, all right. He was raised along the emperor's children and treated as a prince
Memram escaped it from Magdala in 1865 and returned home to Shura. It is reported that Memram was 6 feet tall and had a dark complexion with small pox marks on his face and fine white teeth. Otto Bisbee, appointed governor by Emperor T. Wardros II, fled the region when Memram returned, and Memram became Nagus, king of the area. When Emperor T. Wardros II died in 1868, Memram desired to become emperor, but had to submit to Tekli Gergos of 1868 through 1872 and Johannes the fourth, 1872 to 1889. Meanwhile, Memram began to incorporate several kingdoms and states in southern Ethiopia into his reign. And by the time Johannes the fourth of death in 1889, Memram had become the most powerful ruler in Ethiopia by the king and the emperor. So he established his reign throughout several different kingdoms, and this is how he became the emperor of Ethiopia. Memram assumed the name Emperor Menelik II upon his coronation of November the 3rd of 1889. So Memram assumed the name Mentelek after Menelik I, another king who reigned way before Salhal Memram reigned. So during his crowning of 1889, Salhal Memram took on the name of Menelik II, another great king in Ethiopia. His ancestors had been rulers of Mens and heartlands of Shura since the 17th century, and it has been claimed that they were related to the Salamine lines of emperor who ruled Ethiopia between 1268 and 1854. The crown name Menelik II was significant, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute because he believed that his ancestry went back to King Solomon line, right? And we know Solomon is a biblical character in the Bible. But, I, and others who have done extensive research have come to believe that Solomon was not a historical character. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The crown name Menelik II was significant, and Menelik I was a legendary son of Solomon of Mikada and the queen of Sheba. And those who are familiar with the biblical narrative of who was King Solomon, or him marrying Queen Sheba, right? Menelik II, King Solomon married an Ethiopian queen. Menelik II expanded Ethiopia almost to its present day borders. Menelik II, he was related to King Solomon of the Bible, and do not believe Menelik II, he related to King Solomon in the Bible, and I do not believe King Solomon is a real historical person. Still, I do not understand why he looked at or believe, but I do understand why he looked or believed in lineage goes back to this Christianity figure. We have to understand also, before I go further, that Christianity took place, and I'm going to talk about it right in here. Christianity did reach Ethiopia at a specific time, right? And if you read my book, Beautiful Lessons About Kimoyo, where I talk about the religious leaders, right, or the spiritual leaders, right? So in one section of the book, I talk about high priest. Anybody who is crowned the king and queen, they become high priest and high priestess. So they are over whatever spiritual or religious or whatever way of life that their community, tribe, clans, or people gravitate toward to, right? And there are many different names for their way of life, right? But the king and queen would become the high priest and the high priestess. This is why you see a lot when they encounter a lot of the European powers, or even when they started trading. When you look in the Congo, and they started in the Congo, they started trading with the Portuguese, right? Who were Christians, right? And wanted to spread the message of Christianity in the Congo or in Central Africa, right? The kings who participated in the trade wanted to solidify the trade and their loyalty. And this not just in the Congo, this is all through Africa, by converting to some of these different religions, i.e., Christianity, right? And again, the kings would be the high priest and the queens would be the high priestess. So it would only serve right that once the high priest and the high priestess, who are also the king or the ruler of the land, the people would follow suit with the king, queen, who are the high priestess and the high priest. This is why you see it spread it throughout these places, right? Christianity was brought into Ethiopia via European merchants. The story of King Esa converted to Christianity has been reconstructed for several existing documents. The ecclesiastic historians of Rufus and Socrates Scholasticums. And again, there were several different stories of how Christianity got into Ethiopia. Several different documents I read. I talk about that a little bit, and I think the last chapter of my beautiful lessons about Kimoyo book, right? But it is all revolves around King Esna, though. So the story of Queen Esther converted to Christianity has been reconstructed for several existing documents, the ecclesiastic historians of Rufinus and Socrates Scholasticus. Both recounts have Fremitus sought Christianity from Roman merchants. King Esna's decision to adopt Christianity was influenced by his desire to solidify his trade relationship with the Roman Empire. We see this same thing take place in Central Africa, where the king of the Congo wanted to solidify himself with the Portuguese through trading by converting to Christianity. So we see this not only in Central Africa, now you see this in East Africa. But you not only see it in East Africa, you will see it in West Africa as well. You will see it in South Africa as well. So it's not just in Central Africa like most people think it's just in Central Africa, which I believe was some of the worst mistakes, was trading with these foreigners that we encounter, right? All right. So you see, this is cases in Africa where kings converted to build a trading relationship with other European countries. And we see by them establishing and trying to build a relationship with these European powers, it always turned out for the worse for the Africans who are the those who were in power in Africa to build a trading relationship with some of these European powers. They turned on them. They enslaved them. They colonized them. They raped, they pillaged, they murdered them. So it didn't work out well. In Africa, kingship chieftains often served as spiritual and communal leaders. Kings and queens served as high priest and high priestess. So most of the time, when king converts, the people converts as well. I just established that and talked about that. But a lot of people who have read my book, Beautiful Lessons of Kimoyo, y'all already understand it. Y'all already grasped it. Or read other different material. Y'all already grasped it. So I know I'm preaching to the choir of the song. but there's some that don't know. Italy expanded its presence in the Red Sea and the area that had become important since the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869. With support, Italy took control of the port city of Maswana in 1885. From Maswana, Italy moved slowly inland, leading to several clashes with locals, culminating in the Battle of Adwa. Italians' expansion across Ethiopia was facilitated by the devastation caused of the relentless pest of infection viral diseases that killed up to 90% of the country's livestock. Famine and disease wiped out a third of the population between 1882 and 1892. This period is regarded as the Kifo Kin evil days. Italy took advantage of the devastation. It sought to divide and conquer Raj Magasha of the Tigray and the Ingus Malinke Shahol. Shol. The Italians eventually signed the Treaty of Wuchala with Menelik in May of 1889. The treaty was written Aramaic and Italian. The treaty would later be the trigger for the Battle of Adwa. Now we know, a lot of us who have studied the historical record of certain treaties between Europeans and Africans, or certain treaties between Arabs and Africans, certain treaties between the Turks and the Africans, certain treaties between the Muslims or the Muslims and the Africans have always been broken. They have never holded to those treaties, right? The treaties would later be triggered by the Battle of Adwa. Menelik will discover that the language in two versions, which was written in Aramaic and the other in Italian, discover that the language in the two versions of the treaty differ. The Italian version effectively made Ethiopian Italians protectors in the contrast to the Amharic version. The protector is the state that controls and protect by another. So Menelik was like, wait a minute. I am the emperor of Ethiopia. Italians do not control any real estate of Ethiopia. So wait a minute, what you mean that you are in control of the real estate of Africa and you're here to protect us? No. No. So Menelik II was not going for it. He was not going for it at all. Ethiopian forces. So let's talk about the forces, because again, this battle was inspiration to the Africans in Africa and the African Americans in America. It inspired some of our great minds in the United States, this battle that transpired. So let's look into the forces, the Ethiopian forces. Shura, Nagastic kings and kings of Menelik II had 25,000 rifles and 3,000 horses and 32 guns. The Benjinda, Itajan, Tatu had 9,000 rifles, 6,000 horses, and 4 guns. Gajam, the Nagas, Nigas, Tekla Hamanit, 8,000 rifles, 7,000 horses. Hara Ras of Makana, 15,000 rifles. Tyra, Ras much, and these were different vassals within Ethiopia. Yahana and Rahula, 5,000 rifles. 6 guns, Wola, Ras Makala, 6,000 rifles, and 5,000 horses. Suma, Ras Gusa, Ole, 8,000 rifles. Glakstar, Washun, Golan, 6,000 rifles. In addition, there were 20,000 spearmen and swordsmen, as well as an unknown number of armed, and they use the verbiage of peasants. I'm not going to use that word, even though I put it in that chapter in this presentation. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, I'm trying to respond to one of my clients. I'll make sure it's respond to her. Estimated for the Ethiopian forces on the Menelik range from a low of 73,000 to a high of over 120,000, outnumbering the Italians by an estimate of 5 to 6 times. Listen to that, y'all, because I want this number. Because when you see another number that I equate, I want you to know who took the most losses, right? Estimated for the Ethiopian forces on the Menelik range as a low of 73,000 to a high of over 120,000, outnumbering the Italians by an estimated of 5 or 6 times. Remember that. This is a painting of the Battle of Adwa by an Ethiopian artist. And I can't remember his name. His name is escaping me, but I think I did give credit to him in the book for this image. But this is an image of an painter, an Ethiopian painter, painting the battle of the Battle of Adwa. Italian forces. The Italian armies consisted of 4 barrages, a total of 17,978 troops with 56 artillery pieces. So remember, he had a low of the Menelik army had a low of 73,000 to a high of 120,000. They had 17,978 troops with 56 artillery pieces. However, it is likely that fewer fought in the actual battle on the Italian side. Harold Marcus noted that several thousand soldiers were needed to support roads and to guard the lines of communication to the rear. He estimated that the Italian forces at Ottawa consist of 14,923 effective combat troops. Adwa, barricaded under General Albertone, was made up of Etritrans, a Scara led by the Italian officers. The remaining 3 brigades were Italian units under the Brigadier da Bormida, Elan, and Ermande, while these included elite Bersaglieri, if I'm saying his name right, and Alphen units. A large portion of the troops were inexperienced conscripts, recently drafted from metropolitan in the Italians into newly founded Africa battalions for service in Africa. In addition, a limited number of troops were from the Castration de Africa units permanently served in Africa and in parts recruited by the Italian settlers. This is an image of the Italians marching in Adwa. On March the 1st, 1896, the Ethiopian army confronted Italians at the Battle of Adwa and scored a decisive victory. The peace treaty was signed later that year to preserve Ethiopia independence during the height of the scramble of Africa. Now, if you want to know more and what else transpired, you have to get the book, We Are the Spears of Victory, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, volume 5. This is from my chapter 4, my survey about the Battle of Adwa, right? The Treaty of Adus Abba, signed in October of 1896, did away with the Treaty of Warsaw and reestablished peace. The Italians claimed control and protected Ethiopia was therefore abandoned. In the Battle of Adwa, which took place 126, which this year will be 127 years ago, a traditional warriors, farmers, pastoralists, and women defeated a well-armed Italian armies in northern towns of Adwa in Ethiopia. So you see, I always talk about unification, and I always see through the historical record, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Jamaica, whether it's in South America, whether it's in North America, I see when we come together for one common goal and we unify, we always come out victorious on the end. But somewhere down the line, we have lost that of unification. Everyone doesn't want to work with everyone. No one want to unify. Everyone want to little boy each other. Everybody want to degrade everyone. Everybody want all the money to themselves, right? But warriors, traditional warriors, farmers, pastoralists, women, and people of higher upper echelons came together to fight and defend their country and defeated the Italians. The outcome of the battle ensured Ethiopia independence, making it the only African country never to be colonized. Man, did you hear that? Y'all hear that? The outcome of this battle ensured Ethiopians' independence, making it the only African country to never be colonized. Adwa turned Ethiopia into a symbol of freedom for Black people globally. It also led to the change of the government in Italy. Ethiopians celebrated victory over the Italians every year, and they still celebrate their victory over the Italians right now. I started to put a video showing you the last year festivities, the last year celebration, the town that Menelik founded out of this Abba, and how they celebrate, how everyone comes together and continue to celebrate the victory that their ancestors did. But we forget about our ancestors. Ethiopians celebrated the victory over the Italians every year. Historians say the victory turned Ethiopia into the icon of liberty for Black people worldwide, while inspiring Africans and beyond to fight for its independence. So it inspired their brethren and sisters in South Africa. It inspired their brothers and sisters in West Africa. It inspired their brothers and sisters in South Africa to fight But they say, but they'll tell you that we laid down. They'll tell you that we laid down. We laid down in Africa. We laid down on the ships, coming over, coming to the Caribbean, coming to South America, coming to North America. We laid down. We fought. Our great historical leaders of the past, like Marcus Garvey, W.E.D. Du Bois, and others, drew inspiration from the Ethiopia victory. Several African countries adopted the green, the yellow, and the red Ethiopian flag after colonial liberation. So they adopted these colors after they fought, after they was expired, and they gained their independence over colonization. They gained their liberation. So if some of our African brothers and sisters gained their liberations over France, over Britain, over the Dutch, over the Portugal, over Spain, then we could do the same thing here in America. But no, 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 they don't teach that. They tell you that we laid down. We didn't fight. We was weak people. Flags after colonial liberation and the universal national anthem was created for Black people. The star represents the unity of all Ethiopians. So we're talking about the star on the flag. The star represents unity of all Ethiopian nationalities. It's raised their bright prosperous for their future. The blue is the force of peace. The blue is for peace. Yellow is for hope, justice, and equality. Red represents sacrifice for freedom and equality, while green is equated with labor, development, and fertility. So that is what the flag stands for when you see our brothers in Ethiopia raising the flag high. This is a picture of the celebration of the Battle of Adwa, which still take place today. And I think this is from 2021 or 2022. The celebration, these are some of the pictures. So you see him rocking the red, the yellow, and the green. He has the red, yellow, and green slash on. You see the military factory in the back waving the flag high. You see this other brother has his slash on with the flag wrapped around it. You see the young sisters with their slashes on, and they're raising the flag high in celebration of what their ancestors did and becoming the only country in Africa to not be colonized, y'all. That's big, man. That's big, y'all. That's big. This is a statue in the town that Menelik II established. So this is Menelik riding horses. And yes, we was riding horses in Africa. Yes. I showed you how many horses each one of those brigades that Menelik had. So he rode high with his army to defeat the Italians, to keep their independence and become the only African country to not be colonized and to expire and to set off a chain of events. You hear me? Set off a chain of events where Africans began to fight for their liberation. Africans began to unify for their liberation. Man, these are my sources right here. So you can go back and vent. You can go through my sources. You can pick up some of these sources and read these sources yourself. Some of them are books, some of them articles, some of them are journals. You know, but I was expired when I started doing research on this, and I was like, man, I got to. We got a book called "We Are the Spears of Victory." What way to write a chapter dealing with the victory of the Ethiopians who was never colonized and who set off a chain of events, and by them battling and unifying inspired people all over the world, not just in East Africa, it inspired all over the world. So I said, well, what better way of right? I'm gonna check the go through them, so go through them, man. Oh, let me do this. Um, take it off here. Let me stop sharing real quick. Let's see. Let's go back in here. Stop sharing. All right, man. So I hope y'all appreciated this presentation slash lecture. Um, Man, I just thought it was only right to kind of come back, like I said, in the spirit of Black history and give y'all some Black history in Africa that expired people in Africa, that expired people on those islands, that expired people in South America, that expired people in America, and inspired some of our scholars of today that we still look at, that we still standing on their shoulders, right? So again, like I said, I hope y'all appreciate. I'm waiting to jump. They were calling that. So I appreciate, what I'm saying, people for tuning in. But if anybody got any questions, I'll be on here for about 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna jump off here. I'm not trying to stay on long at all. I appreciate the people who came and rocked out with me. I appreciate those who said uh this was a great presentation, and like I said, on the field right to do it. But anybody got any questions? Appreciate that. How do you say your name, sister, so I can get it right? Is it uh Sajada? Sajada? AA? How do you pronounce your name? I want to get your name right. Pronounce your name right. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody, man, who tuned in. I'll stay for a few minutes to see who who may have some questions um about Menelek the second, or who may have some questions about the Berlin conference, who may have questions. Okay, side. Okay, I got you. I got you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. What up, Chef? Chef Madness. What up with it? What up? I see you. Yeah, everybody going like everything is that. Yeah, appreciate everything, man. Everything. I said it, I feel like this was gonna be a good show, man. That's why, I wanted to come on and do it. I right now my time is valuable, and a lot of times being on here to me, it's not as important as what I got going on outside of the YouTube world, man. But a lot of people been telling me to, jump back on. Shout out to appreciate that too, Setep and Rob Mary Amen. A lot of people been telling me to jump back on because I've been gone for about 2 months, and a lot of people been telling me to jump back on. Chef was one of them. Shout out to Chef. Uncle was another person. Um, and a few other people, told me to jump back on, man. And I was like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I may fire the channel back up or whatever. I appreciate Travis going live the other day. You know what I'm saying? He did something, he contributed something to Black History because this is Black History Edition. Right here, Travis did something. Travis is supposed to come back and do something else. Hopefully the other brothers can follow suit and contribute something to Black history. I may come back sometime because I kind of want to talk about what Asar and Hotep talked about. Asar and Hotep, peace to Raymond Barry. Um,
he talked about something about Black History Month, and a lot of us uh, don't understand because I did something on Facebook where I talked about um Black history, just similar, but I wanted to promote and plug the cars. So, again, I won't plug the cars. If you got kids or you just want to learn these quiz cards, man, we put out last year. Like I said, we sold out of these mugs like 3 times. And then I read up and got a few more, and I just had them in the drawer. So I said I just pull them out. So I had a lower, so I said I wasn't gonna put them on the website. I just throw them back up, and I read out a couple of the questions and the answers on the back of the cards. Um, as well. But like I said, it's a great addition. But I was talking about how people have a problem with Black History Month, and it's, you know, or they have a problem with it being they selected the shortest month when we know that it started out as a week and then it went on to be a month in February, right? You know, um, but I want to talk about what Asar and Hotep talked about, why Carter G. Wilson, you know, laid the foundation for this, and it was to go back and reiterate all the things that we had been studying throughout the year, which is key, which people forget, that the importance that this is the only time that we supposed to study about who we are, where we come from around. No, 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 no. That wasn't his intentions at all, right? At all. So, maybe, I may not today or maybe sometime, I don't know, I may come back and do something. I may not, like I said, I have a lot of stuff going on outside of the YouTube world, which I feel like is more important than being on here. I believe I've served my time on YouTube, and I've been on YouTube since 2015, late 2015, early 2016 with the Seshuma Meta group. Um, Me starting my own channel, Kofi Piesie TV, and even with the Mossy Warrior Clan, being a part of the Mossy Warrior Clan, um, um, as well. So I've been on YouTube for a long time, and it's frustrating at times, and sometimes I feel like it's just not worth it, and sometimes it is, and I got a lot of great things going on outside of it too, so that's why. But if y'all want some more of these presentations, let's get back to the teachings. I got a few people I would like to interview that I think will be good, but I done talked and works with, and maybe I'll do it. I may do something different. If I do, I'll come back. I want to do something different. May not be lives, it may be uploads. I may do uploads. I just record them and record the presentations or record the interviews and then upload them, instead of going live. That may help me out a little bit as well. But I know I like to interact with those who are watching the channel too. So I like that as well. But again, man, I don't see any questions in here. I'm not gonna keep baffling. Kofi working on building his church. Now I'm actually working on building my Ubuntu foundation, and I got a lot of things in the work that I don't want to talk about yet till they all in concrete. And there's some lot of things that some conversations that y'all had in the back chat that got me to a certain person that I'm going to talk about reading his books. I want to finish reading one of his books and then start reading the other books. And then it's another book I want to go back and read because a lot of those books are going to be implemented in my Ubuntu Youth Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, which is partnered with my Ubuntu music company. As a music company. And most of what we're going to be doing is working with the kids as far as music. Been trying to work on getting some stuff together from a building. Finally got all of that out the way. Just now I got to get the building here, which should be coming soon. Had it built the way that I wanted it. And after that, I just got to work on doing some work on the building and got to get the sheetrock hung. I'm going to do the installation myself inside the walls, and then I'm going to insulate it soundproof. I got to get an electrician out here to hook up the lights. And some more stuff, man, that I just got to get, I just got to get done. And then we'll be up operational, and some other things I'll be talking about, looking for other men, other Black men as well as women. But it's going to be certain criteria you're gonna have to meet in order to be a part of the Ubuntu Youth Foundation. Y'all start seeing hopefully me interacting with more kids and having my stuff out the ground. But it's a lot of stuff I'm working on that I just can't talk about right now too. Like I said, it's I got everything where I wanted to get it at, and everybody committed to where they want to commit it. And I get some more stuff that I need to get, and some more work done that I need to get done, man. But again, man, I appreciate everybody. There's no question. Yeah, appreciate that. I did. I said, did I say the word right? Elect twitch, whatever. I said elect twist. I can't talk. But again, man, I'm finna get off of here, man. I appreciate everybody, man. Rocking out with me again. Go get the cards. Just inbox me. Facebook Messenger me. If you got my number, text me or call me. If you're on IG, boom. Just get them. It's a 54 deck of quiz cards. I'm telling you, jam packed with information from Africa, Caribbean, South America, and America, man. Jam packed with cards. Go get our latest publication, We Are the Spears of Victory, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, volume 5. And that presentation comes from chapter 5, the Battle of Adwa. I didn't give you everything in the presentation because I want you to read the chapter, right? Also, if you don't have the comprehension book, we put this out last year. Kofi Piesie, our research team, I think will be a great contribution to Black History Month. Go get go get Spear Masters, which also another institution that I found is Spear Masters, which is also for the youth as well. But it's for it's actually for literary purposes, the Spear Masters. So go get the comprehension book so we can raise the level of our kids. Go get the comprehension book for yourselves if you have low comprehension skills. Will be things you'll be able to read, essays you'll be able to read, and be able to be tested on what you read, right? And another contribution for your kids, go get the coloring book. The coloring book is also the Spear Masters Institution coloring book 1. There'll be other coloring books. I don't know when. It took me a while to create this coloring book, to figure out how to create a coloring book, but I got the grasp to how to create a coloring book, how to create my own characters so far. But it's a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? And just this little coloring book, it took a lot of work. So the characters, Cheeky, Albina, and Kojo are the characters within the book. And they'll be guiding your children. That's Albina, that's Cheeky, and Kojo. That's them. They telling you who they are. Not Kojo, that's Cheeky, but Kojo, that's Kojo. So they just telling you who they are, where they come from, all have African names from different African countries, and they're guiding your children through the coloring book. So your children are actually learning as they're coloring. Cheeky is explaining on one page exactly what your children are coloring. Albino explaining on another page what your children is coloring. And Kojo is explaining. It's a learning coloring book. So each page has an illustration to color, and it has information of what they're coloring. So they're having fun and learning at the same time. I think these are all on www.sanetree-differentbranchpublishing.com. That is our publishing website. If you have you want your book published, come through us. We're the cheapest on the market. February the 6th, I'm going up. February the 6th, the prices will increase. We had a great year. Last year, I ended up right at the end of November, going into December, still had work carried on into January by other people patronizing the business. So we're working. I appreciate it. There's a lot of other things coming forth, whether we on here or not. Just believe if we're not on this channel, we working. You know what I'm saying? We working. So like I said, I got a lot of stuff that I'll be showing that's coming in the works. A movie, got a movie coming, produced, written by me. That's coming, the Ubuntu Youth Foundation with kids. My foundation is coming. You're going to see a lot of us interacting with the children before the year out. I got a new book coming. But it's in a new. It's going to be it's going to be marketed in another marketplace, but it's going to be African centered. But it's not really well. You can say it's marketing in marketing places that we market in, but it's going to be virtued outside those marketing places, which is going to get me into schools. This book is going to be utilized for schools. Um, and I don't want to discuss the certain schools or institutions that I'm talking about with, and I already done built some relationships with some of the schools who are over the schools or over these institutions. They already have, or the books are already on the way. Some of them already have the books in their hands to review over with before I release the book, to get some critique from the book before I actually put it out, which will be coming soon, which will be marketed in a couple of places. And you will see me traveling with the book. So I have footage of that as well, going in some of these places and speaking. I'll be speaking for the first time February the 19th at an expo. I don't want to disclose what the expo is, but I'll be talking about some of the various things that I have in the book, but the book won't be out until late next month. Sometime, I think late next month. But man, I'm out of here, man. No questions on here, man. Peace and Black African power, man. I'm gonna leave y'all with man, I thought I had my brother on here. I wanted to put his song, which is inspiring to me right now. It's one of my go-getter songs by Stigalo, but I didn't put it on my Rodecaster Pro. So I don't know. I'll just pay pain. I'm out of here, man. Peace and Black African power.
JC, you cool for this one.
Some men chase glory. Some men chase fame. Some men chase stories. But I choose pain. I choose pain. In the midst of the rain. No tears but rain. Until broken chains. I choose pain. Until we're all free. I choose pain. Give me that. I want all that. Give me that pain. Yeah, I choose pain. Until liberation, I choose pain. The motherfucking laws got it in for me. That's life when you trying to chase infamy. Fucking up kidneys off that Hennessy. Watch out for fake friends if they finicky. Some men act friendly, but they your enemies. Don't act like you don't know. Is you kidding me? That's what it is, to keep it plain and simple. It's that gangster talk, the epitome. Gangster talk, that's what I spit about. If you not but walking and walk, then get out. If you ain't laying down wood, what that stick about? Hey, check it out. With that stick out. Some men move differently. That's right. But it's okay to sit out. That's okay. Ain't no glory in this shit. Ain't no time for no clit out. Facts. No clout. Some men chase glory. Some men chase fame. Some men chase stories. But I choose pain. I choose pain. In the midst of the rain. No tears but rain. Until broken chains. I choose pain. Until we're all free. I choose pain. Give me that. I want all that. Give me that pain. Yeah. I choose pain. Until liberation. I choose pain. If it ain't race first, you can die slow. Yeah. And that's on the west I ride for. Because out west like 5-0. Don't shit with no 5-0. But we let it click clack like a 5-blow. Let the whole thing go. If a cracker gotta go. Ain't nothing better than a hunter turned ghost. This the life of a black man's back on the rope. Ain't no more following the okie doke. No participating in shenanigans. The semantic pen is to negate the African Holocaust for Germanic sin. Hey, did you know? A black woman created a solution for a pathogen. She's African, but my people fail to realize they've been embedded by psychological antigens. Some men chase glory. Some men chase fame. Some men chase stories. But I choose pain. I choose pain. Yeah. In the midst of the rain, no tears but rain. Until broken chains, I choose pain. Until we're all free, I choose pain. Give me that, I want all that. Give me that pain. Yeah, I choose pain. Until liberation, I choose pain.